Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the absolutely epic Early Week Podcast. If you cannot tell by my voice, I am not Dean. You guys are welcome. He's too busy flirting with Mickey Mouse down at Britt's wedding. Is the only thing I can expect him to be doing. It seems like a real Dean thing. But now I am hosting this week, and I am joined here. We'll start off with Mangone. How you doing over there, buddy?
Hey, man, good. Listen, I thought I lost the Tweets or Consequences bet, Grant, and then when I found out in our group chat I didn't lose, I was all excited. I was like, oh, good, I've survived another week. I thought it was going to be a rough week for me here on the pod, but I'm back and better than ever. And listen, we don't got many weeks of football left, so I'm excited. Can't wait to dive into the slate and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I thought Devontae Parker got hurt in the early games. I'm like, all right, I'm done for. And then Melvin Gordon was 1 yard away from making me win in the first half, and then he did nothing, and which also ruined all my fantasy teams. But, oh well, things happen. So I'm tweeting out this week. Let's get to our third guest. Guest spot seems like one a year. How you doing over there, Big T?
What's going on, boys? Yeah, I like coming on with you guys, especially doing a pod I don't usually do, so get me out of my comfort zone a little here.
Yeah, well, it's always fun having you on. I guess we'll start off with the question from last week, which was new thing to watch or binge on Netflix or whatever. If you guys haven't listened to this pod before, we ask a question each week. You leave a comment in the comment section on the RG podcast page, and we pick the best one, and that person gets a T-shirt, and one non-premium member gets a non-T-shirt. Premium member this week, with the question was favorite thing to binge. Derek 84 won with Action Bronson and Friends Watch Ancient Aliens. I looked into it a little bit, and it's literally just guys getting stoned and eating a ton of food and watching the TV show Ancient Aliens. So fantastic suggestion there. And then the non-premium guy, Jay Work. I actually did watch Russian Doll this week because of him, and good show. I highly suggest it. I really enjoyed it. So guys, go ahead and DM Dean because I'm not dealing with this stuff because I don't have any time and don't care to. We'll make Dean do all the work, even though he's on vacation this week. But go ahead and DM and get yourself a T-shirt. And Big T, you came up with the question for this week. You know what? You remember what it is?
Yeah, I want to know why people listen to NFL content on a Tuesday. Not this pod or that pod. What do you get out of it too? Like, why do you listen to an NFL pod on a Tuesday? You got to have something better to do with your time.
I think Big T outed himself. I don't think he's a loyal listener of this podcast, but maybe I'm wrong on this one. But yeah.
First of all, just to put it all out there, I like listening to you guys individually, all three of you, but I can't say I like listening to any NFL content early in the week.
Some people got just stuff they want to listen to on their way to work would be my guess. But yeah, guys, go ahead, go to the podcast page on RG. Click on this podcast and leave in the comment section. I think you just go to rotogrinders.com/podcast and it'll be the first one up there on Tuesday. So go ahead and do that. Get yourself a shot at a free T-shirt if you're a premium member, or a free week of RG Premium if you're not a premium member. But we got a full slate this week. Obviously, no more bye weeks. Now the Thanksgiving slate. And so we got a whole bunch of teams playing here, and it looks moderately interesting so far at first glance here. And guys, it's the beginning of the week, so anything we say can be completely wrong by the end of the week based on injury news. But, yeah, it's a first-look pod. We generally have some good plays. Last week I called Marcus Johnson. I just really want to stroke my own ego because I didn't play any of them because I switched to Paris Campbell because the other two guys on this podcast talked me into it. So sometimes
you can't listen to the two chalk guys.
I know. It was a horrible idea. Marcus Johnson was such the right play, and I just completely fudged up.
Don't ever listen to Dean in anything.
Yeah, I know. I expected better of you, Trav, but Dean, I should have known. But yeah, we don't have a whole –
Listen, I always tell you, Grant, like whatever we're saying on Tuesday isn't important. The Friday injury report matters, and pivot to that receiver or running back that comes out.
Yeah, I did, and it blew up my lineups. It absolutely blew up my lineups. Instead of a min-price Marcus Johnson for 25 points, I got 4 points out of Paris Campbell. You idiot.
I blame Dean.
Yeah, let's just blame Dean. Go back to that, man. This is Dean's
I hope he
fault.
doesn't get lucky with Minnie this week. But in any case,
Minnie, don't you mean Mickey?
Whatever he wants. I don't know. He seems more like a goofy guy. But in any case, we got a nice little what is it, 13-game slate, 14-game slate this weekend. No real high totals this week. I don't think there's a single one on the board with over 50. So we don't have an absolute lock and load. We've got, we'll just start off with quarterback here. We got Mahomes going up against Denver in a tough matchup here. We got Russell Wilson going up against Carolina, which is a run funnel, and we know how they like to run the ball. Winston is hurt. Deshaun Watson going up against a tough Tennessee defense. Tannehill in the same matchup there. Baker is the next best priced quarterback. Looking at quarterback here, don't really see a lock and load without Lamar Jackson on the slate here. We'll start off with you, Mangone. Up at the top, who are you paying up for, if anyone?
Yeah, I think Watson kind of sticks out, or Tannehill, right? Those two guys. These are both pass defenses that you can expose a ton. So I think that they're interesting and in play and options that you want to consider. Watson has an amazing floor, right, for the rushing upside. So that's something that I'll definitely be considering a ton. We have to wait and see what's going to happen with that Winston news. He's obviously in play against the Lions if he's healthy. But I think those are the two guys I'm kind of keying in on right now. I think the one thing to note too is we're at that time of year where the domes matter, right? It's kind of cold outside. We see these quarterbacks struggle sometimes in the colder weather, like a Baker Mayfield in Arizona. We know Arizona, you can do anything and everything on, and Mayfield's expensive at 6,400, but there's definitely upside there for him, against this Arizona defense. So that's something to consider. Dallas's defense, we know we can target them. And again, another dome spot. And Jared Goff, he's been passing the ball a ton this season. I think he's ranked 4th or 3rd in the league in passing yards. And it's clear Jared Goff, he's not bad once he goes against these terrible defenses. So I think Dallas is a defense that we can expose here. So I think Goff could be interesting and in play. More so looking at these games that are in domes and trying to kind of take advantage of that opportunity. Even Kyler at 5,600, that's pretty cheap for Kyler. I know he was hurt the game before and hasn't really shown that he's going to pop, but people might be worried about that. I'm not that worried because in tournaments there's a ton of upside for a guy like a Kyler Murray.
Yeah, what about you, Big T? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, just you were talking about the totals too, and it's weird how many totals are in that same range where there's 7 or 8 games that are between 45 and 48. It looks like. So yeah, there's a lot of directions to go. It's going to be kind of like this week where there wasn't much chalk this week until later on, where some of the Jets' value opened up and different stuff like that. But it looks another week like that. At the top, obviously, you have to like Russell Wilson against Carolina. Carolina's been so bad. Seattle needs a win to stay in that race. They can still get back past San Francisco, which obviously is a big deal because one of them is going to get the 1 seed more than likely, and one of them is going to get the 5 seed. So quite a big difference. They need a win. I like him. Man, the game of the week is going to be Houston, Tennessee. And I just hate Deshaun Watson. I just don't think he's any good besides scrub time. Every week he gets there in scrub time, and it just tilts me to no end. And Tannehill, how is Tannehill priced in the same range as these guys? He's been good. I'm not saying he hasn't been, but we don't know what the weather's going to be in Tennessee either. I think that game's going to be chalky, and I don't necessarily like those guys.
That's not a dome. I thought it was in a dome for some reason. I thought it was in Houston, so I guess the weather would matter. But I don't know. It's Tennessee, right? It shouldn't be too bad.
Tannehill's put up multi-touchdown games 4 weeks in a row. They are actually barely favored in this one. This could be a potentially close game here. Tannehill, he can put up 300-plus yards.
Who has he played, though?
Oakland, Indy, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Carolina.
So when do you get to the good teams?
Carolina
is Houston one of those good teams when it comes to defense? I don't think so.
No, Houston sucks. You're right.
The one thing I'll say is I saw Warren Sharp tweet this out, and it was before the Raiders game. The Titans for 4 weeks when Tannehill was starting, they're number 1 in explosive offense. Which is pretty shocking. But I don't know, man. With a guy like Derrick Henry out there, you have to worry about him so much. It just leaves open opportunities for Tannehill to just have single coverage guys and the opportunity for him to run as well. So listen, I'm not scared of that Houston defense. It's another defense that I think we can target.
You know what Tannehill's QB rate or stats are kind of similar to is when Nick Foles was playing with Chip Kelly. Just hyper efficient, doesn't throw a whole lot of picks, 118.5 passer rating. Honestly, Tannehill I don't think is a terrible play, but yeah, the guy I'm really looking at is Jared Goff. We we saw his just horrible stretch where he wasn't able to do anything. Now he gets a match versus Dallas. They're near the bottom of the league in terms of pass defense. Like, the Rams against bad pass defenses can do a whole lot. He's sitting there at 6,100. But there are a few cheap guys I want to talk to you guys about. First one, Drew Lock has been good, and they're an 11-point underdog here against KC, I think, if that's correct. Lock has been fantastic. He's got some weapons. It's going to be a spot where they're probably going to be throwing the ball later on in the game. He's 5,700 versus Kansas City. Like, he's a potential spot there. Minshew, this Oakland pass defense is one of the worst in the league. They are a terrible team. Minshew should be able to put up some points. Eli Manning against the Dolphins. Like, you never want to do that if he is starting this week. Eli Manning against the Dolphins at 5,200. Anyone can put up points against the Dolphins. And then David Blow, 5,300 up against the Tampa Bay pass funnel. He's got some good wide receivers that can absolutely do some work here. Like, any of these guys standing out to you, Big T?
Yeah, I kind of like the range of garbage guys down here just because the matchups, like you said, there's some good matchups down here. Miami's just got carved all year, obviously, to quarterbacks. Same with Tampa with the pass funnel. I mean, this Blow isn't any good, but, man, it's a good spot for him. He's got good receivers. He's got good weapons. He's got a dome like you guys were talking about, so you know you got the good weather. I like that call a ton, and it makes sense, too, this time of year. Tampa Bay, too, they got some injuries popping up. You got to figure a team like that is going to start. There's going to be teams that quit. We've already seen it with Jacksonville. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Tampa laid an egg. And some of these bad teams could really open up some massive fantasy upside late in the year. I like that call of Blow. The Detroit, they got my eye here early in the week.
Yeah, and you got two fantastic wide receivers to pair him with. What about you, Mangone?
Yeah, one other guy that's like, I guess 5,600. It's not the cheapest, but Phillip Rivers. It is his classic. Like, after he had a good week, he'll let down. But the Minnesota has not been good against the pass this season. They're definitely a spot that we can target, and they got some talented players over there on the Chargers side of the ball. So listen, I know Rivers can struggle to hit it sometimes, but I think he's certainly in play as an option at 5,600 that you can stack with some of those guys, right? Gordon, Eckler, Williams, Allen, just so many different ways that you can go there. So, yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. The Eli thing is interesting because, listen, I don't want to play Eli. That sounds like a terrible idea, but it's like anyone against the Dolphins, right? I think you can kind of consider. So it's a conversation to have. And I thought Big T's call, again, targeting the Bucs pass D is not a bad idea. So some of these, like, garbage quarterbacks, I think in tournaments are going to be really intriguing.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, it's probably a better week to pay down a quarterback. And if you really just want to get a zero for really cheap, Andy Dalton's in there at 4,900. So, yeah, if you want 0 points, then that's probably not the worst day in the world. But anyone we miss here,
he's in trouble because the Patriots already know all their signals. So he's gonna have a rough week, I think.
Gosh, I cannot believe that. Like,
they admitted I don't know if you saw the halftime thing. Like, they basically said,
I saw it.
Yeah, they were like trying to dial it back. Just
how does stuff like this even happen? Like, I don't really care if it happened or not, but how does it always happen with the Patriots?
Well, why do they do it to bad teams? Like, I guess they could get away with it, like maybe unless they're doing it to everyone. But like, it's always against like the Jets, like the just terrible teams, the Bengals, the Patriots.
Yeah, you should not need to scout against the Bengals like that.
Yeah, if you can't be the Bengals, then. By the way, the Patriots aren't going to do anything in the playoffs. Like, am I wrong there? Like, they are not a very good team.
Noodle Arm is done.
I mean, definitely.
Put a fork in it.
I'm excited to see who they play, and I'm hoping it's like a team that like that'll beat them up pretty good. Because I don't know, like what if do you think the Browns will beat them? Like I don't know, like who's that wild card team?
The problem is you're right about this. The problem is the AFC's. Who was arguing? It was you arguing with me, wasn't it? That the AFC is better than the NFC.
I think it was Kyle.
Oh God, it was bad. I couldn't believe it when these guys were arguing with me about it. But the AFC, outside of Baltimore, New England, not even New England, Baltimore and Kansas City, there's nobody.
Yeah, so here's the problem. I don't know what seed the Patriots will get, but let's say somehow the Patriots don't have to play the Chiefs and the Ravens. They're going
to get the 2 seed, right?
You know who's going to beat them, right? Tannehill.
Tannehill?
That would be interesting. But, like, I haven't looked at the standings, but you're probably right about that. But I'm just saying, like, let's say there is a chance that they only – like, if they play the Ravens and the Chiefs, like, I don't see them getting out of it. But if they somehow get lucky enough to be able to only have to play one of them once, like, it's football. Anything can happen. Like, that defense is good. Like, I think –
they're not going to be the 4 seed, though, so they're going to have to play – they're going to be the 2 or 3, so they're going to have to play the other one.
Yeah, and the only way that's –
unless Buffalo somehow beats them.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's record's a lot better now. Now I think can they take the division, Buffalo?
They can.
Buffalo controls their own fate, I think.
I don't think they do. Patriots own the tiebreaker is the problem. So unless they lose to the Bengals or Dolphins, maybe that's why they're scouting the Bengals. They have to beat them in order to take down the division. Oh gosh, but this is fantasy. We should probably move on to the next position here. Let's move on over to running back, and we see CMC priced cheaper than we've seen in a little while, sitting there at $10K going up against Seattle. The game's projected within a 6-point spread here, which seems a little bit low, but in Carolina, it might be right. Like, up at the top, we have him. We have Cook versus the bad Chargers run defense. We have Henry, who is now pretty much a lock for 150 yards and a touchdown or two. Chubb going up against a terrible Arizona defense. Zeke versus the Rams. Guy I'm really looking at is Barkley going up against Miami. I know he's been trash all season, but, like, you got to assume that he's going to do something here. Man, like, Mangone, tell me I can't play Barkley.
No, you can play him. He's certainly in play at 7,700. It's a conversation to have. I think this range is really interesting, right? Like, Leonard Fournette, I get it. He didn't have the best week last week, but I'm not scared of the Raiders and the volume he's seeing.
Why do you keep wanting to play Fournette?
I think
because he's getting like 10 targets a week, and he's getting 20 rushes.
What he's getting?
Yeah, he's still getting. I mean, if you look out throughout the
the last 5 weeks. Okay, here we go.
Does he have a 35-point game in there?
Right. Do the other 5 weeks count? Like, he's got spots where he got 26 points.
They've got blown out 5 straight weeks. Why would you take a running back on a team that gets blown out every week? That hasn't
because he's facing Oakland.
The last 5.
Because in those games he's gotten blown out, right? He had 6 targets, 7, 12, 11, 6. On top of that, they've been blown out in all those games. What if the games happen to be close? And
why would it be close? They're awful.
They're playing Oakland this week.
No.
You think Oakland's blowing them out? You think Oakland's blowing out?
I think Fournette is like the worst play every week.
Oh. I mean, I can't argue with that.
Same price as the good guys. Like, imagine playing him over, like, Saquon. Like,
well, here's the problem, right? This is why I think he's in play. But the problem is you probably want to play Carson, right? Because Penny's out.
I want to play you over Fournette.
I don't know, man. Do I got the speed for that? Can I slip?
I mean, this guy's had 40 yards, 23 yards, 38 yards, 50 yards. Like, he's awful.
I get it, but the targets are nice.
But the volume, he gets 12 targets, and the regression is coming.
Yeah. Just play Barkley instead.
I get it, but I know, Grant, you like Barkley. I like Carson probably more, though. Like, I think he's the guy I would rather.
I want you playing Fournette. We need early week action here. One of you can have Fournette.
I want Carson. No, I want Carson more. Like, that's the guy I prefer. The reason why I like him is Penny's going to be out, and Carolina has been horrible against the run all year long. So I think Carson's the guy. Like, that's my favorite between Barkley, Fournette, and Carson. But I think those three are all in play. Like, I don't really love a lot of the guys above, like Zeke I'm not touching. I probably should play Henry, but I'm not. Dalvin Cook, I don't know if I want to go there. Like, do we want to pay for CMC? Probably not. Chubb against Arizona could be interesting. Like, these guys are at this price. I just think they're not in, like, elite matchups. I think once you kind of hit Barkley is where it starts getting interesting.
What about Josh Jacobs going up against Jacksonville's defense? Like, if they are going to get blown out, then Jacobs is going up against a team that gives up the most rushing yards per attempt in the entire league. He can get 20-plus carries. Like, anytime they're blowing a team out, he'll get 20-plus carries. They're giving up 5.4 yards per carry here. He's priced at $7K. Like, it's early in the week. He may not even play, in which case DeAndre Washington's a fantastic play here. But, like, what about Jacobs, Bingo?
Yeah, I get it, but I'm probably not going to do it. I'll just wait and see what the news ends up saying. I guess I prefer some of the other guys that are a little, up there more. I am curious to see if it's like a DeAndre Washington or Jalen Richard week again. Like, wait for Friday or Sunday. We'll kind of get a report on that. So I don't know. I'm not in love with Jacobs right now. I think I'd prefer, the three guys I kind of discussed.
All right, Big T. What about the 5K to 6K?
I love Jacobs, by the way. I love the Jacobs call.
Thank you.
As long as obviously he has to play, but if he plays, I love him.
Yeah. What about the 5 to 6K range? I mean, we got Lindsey going up against the Chiefs there. The Broncos have been good recently. I know it's a big spread, but Chiefs one of the worst run defenses in the league, and Lindsey is one of the best yards per carry guys in the league. Yes, he's not controlling the entire backfield, but he's still there. We got Freeman going up against a tough San Francisco team, but they're still not nearly as good against the run as they are versus the pass. Gurley going up against Dallas gives up a ton of targets to opposing running backs. They're not a great run defense. Mixon crushed last week, but I'm not playing him against New England. And then Melvin Gordon and Eckler sitting there at 6,500 and 6,700. This team is just doing everything through the running backs. Minnesota's been decent versus the run here, but we're getting Melvin Gordon in peak whatever form, not even doing that great, but more just the fact that he's getting the volume and he'll be getting a lot of the red zone work. Melvin Gordon or Eckler, I think, could go off for a massive game here versus Minnesota, and I don't expect anyone to play him.
Yeah, you're right. No one's going to play him. Especially, I like Eckler, too, against a defense like Minnesota. He catches these dump-offs. We saw it last week, obviously, against your guys' Jacksonville team, but breaks it to the house, 30-plus points, so much upside that I like it. I like both those guys. I don't love to pick on Minnesota, but I agree they're going to be completely unowned. They got talent, and they just get so much workload that it makes a ton of sense. And I like that going down a little bit. I keep saying I'm going to play him because he treated me well on Showdown, and he's gone off 2 straight weeks. But Mostert, man, against Atlanta, which is our favorite matchup, San Francisco needs to win. I know they got 3 running backs. I understand that. But no one's going to play him because of that. And he's looked so good, and he's only 5,200. I like this guy.
Yeah. 10 carries last week, 19 carries the week before. That San Francisco run offense just knows what they're doing. They're just fantastic every single week. Atlanta, it's a perfect game script for them to run the ball constantly just because they don't have that great of a defense. I really like that call. What about in this mid-tier range for you, Mangone?
Yeah, so I think the Gordon call makes a ton of sense. Like him. I think the one guy that I think is interesting that you guys I don't think I heard you guys mention it. I kind of think Todd Gurley at 6K could be really interesting. He's starting to get more of the volume. I do worry about the Malcolm Brown goal line vulturing, but listen, 19 carries and 23, and they said they were going to get him more work. So I think against Dallas here, I think he could definitely be an intriguing play. Like the Lindsey call a lot. I think that was good. And I agree with Big T on the Mostert call. The funny thing is on FanDuel, he's 7,500.
Is he?
Yeah, they priced him up aggressively.
You can't play him at that.
No, for sure. You can't. That's just crazy. But I'm wondering if he becomes chalk at 5,200. How people see those price differences, Big T.
He's literally an eyeball test, too, because everyone knows they got 3. He just looks good. He's got explosion in there.
Yeah, so does this is my question. Does this gain traction throughout the week, and does he become bad chalk? Because I
don't think there's any way he becomes chalky. At 5,200, no one wants to play a 3 running back team. They don't want to play any right. We've seen Coleman go for 32 points one random week. He wasn't close to chalk the next week.
I know, but I'm just saying if you got no value, right? It's something that I'm asking. And like I said, seeing the difference between FanDuel, people might be and what if he becomes the bell cow? Let's say they say he's the bell cow now.
If they said that, then obviously people would play him.
Yeah, I know.
Why would they say that?
I don't know. Sometimes you get coach speak, and I'm just curious.
If they said that, then I think he'd be chalk. But I don't think they'll say it.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm always looking for news and looking to see what coaches are saying. So I'm curious if something comes out because it is weird. But you're right about the eyeball test on him. He's looked really good. We don't. It sounds like from what we talked about before, we're not team Tom Brady on this podcast. So we're also probably team attack the Bengals. So why aren't we considering James White and Sony Michel? Right? They have to probably do something here. At least you would assume.
Sony has been so bad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, why not White? They've been giving White more work. Does it become a Rex Burkhead week out of nowhere? I don't think so. Again, this is, if we're talking Rex Burkhead.
You don't think so, but it's the Patriots. Can you ever trust them to do
anybody
what they're going to do?
I know, but I'm just saying, Ace is the Bengals, man. If Dean and Crane were running a 2 running back set against the Bengals, I'd be in on them. I'd be okay, we got to consider them at 3K.
I think I've seen Crane run the tire drill. I don't think I'm going with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna fade Crane too.
Oh, fair enough. But I don't know. I guess White's probably the best guy, 5,400. I think there's some upside there. So don't sleep on him. I think there's upside with him.
Yeah.
What other guys you got? You have any?
The guy who we need to talk about.
Are Laird and Xavier?
Definitely not him. The guy we just watched Monday Night Football. He's got to be min-priced. Boston Scott.
That sounds awful.
Oh, gosh.
He just looked incredible on Monday night. They need a spark on offense. They got no receivers. He had to pass at least a Ajayi as the backup. So even if he gets like 30 to 40% of the work, he's min-priced.
Yeah, I mean, is Jordan Howard going to play? Yeah, he did get 10 rushes.
He good,
6
man.
targets.
That's eyeball test again. Like, this dude looked good.
I mean, we've seen him play a little bit before. I think they were talking about, if I remember correctly, they were talking about him being pretty decent last year or the year before. I can't remember exactly, but they liked him. And, I mean, we just saw what he did this week. Miles Sanders, like, they don't want to give a full workload to him. You might be right. Like, Boston Scott might be a decent play.
We've said crazier things on this podcast. I'll say that. But,
I would never make fun of a min-priced player that's going to be on the field for the record.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to get work. Like, I'm just still digesting it. Like, yeah, I didn't know if it was like that, like, one-time thing.
It could be. Like, he could easily get us like 2 fantasy points for sure. That's definitely in the equation.
If I told you, Big T, you have to roster Boston Scott or Rex Burkhead this week.
Like, it wouldn't even be like a comparison for me.
Yeah, I know.
I just watched one guy get 25 fantasy points. Rex hasn't got that in like 3 years.
No,
the last time he got it was opening week.
He got 7 carries last week for 15 yards. What a beast.
Yeah. I mean, Burkhead probably will have a good game at some point, but it'll probably be like in the playoffs when no one sees it coming and they somehow find a scheme that it works for him or something.
Yeah. Do you guys have anyone else? Like, I don't see a lot else to like here.
What about Tariq Cohen going up against Green Bay? I mean, they're probably going to be trailing in that game. He could get a lot of jump offs. I still will play Patrick Laird just because. I mean, I'm sold. I'm sold just on him as a person after the last few weeks.
Double-digit points the last 2 weeks, Big T. You're not in on it, 5,400. And he plays 4,500, and he plays the Giants, man. Like, your boy Boston Scott just ate them up. How could you not?
I mean, he's white. Is he white? He's got to be white. Yeah, he's white. Oh, God, look at his pit. He's definitely white.
He might be whiter than me.
He's fine. Like, he's 4,500. Like, he's fine.
Yeah, what about, I don't know, Ronald Jones sitting there at 4,600. Darius Geis doesn't look like they're going to give him a whole workload, but he's sitting there at 4,600. LaShawn McCoy potentially at 4,400. Like any of these other guys sticking out to anyone?
My boy Jamal Williams down there at 42. I always like him.
He is cheap now, like, and it's against the Bears. Those dump offs could be juicy, right? Against Chicago. I don't hate it. I saw the price tag and I was like, man, like, I would not be shocked if you're seeing like Jamal Williams get 50% of the snaps. Like, Packers are trailing, and you know they're out here just dumping off passes to Jamal Williams for cheap. So in tournaments, I don't hate that.
Yeah, I could see that being a pretty decent play. I don't know. I just don't end up playing him. It's bad analysis, but I just don't play him because every time I do, it crushes me. Yeah, like I just don't really see anyone else, and we haven't really talked. I mean, we didn't go over extensively up at the top. I mean, CMC, but Derrick Henry, are you buying what he's done recently? Like, it's just second half of the season.
I'm buying it because he did it last year too.
Yeah, he just crushes. He's getting a ton of workload. They're the favorites. Like, Houston's defense isn't great. I know they're worse versus the pass than they are versus the run, but still not great versus the run. I mean, 8,500, though. It's just getting so far up there, but we always talk about how we want a guy that's just getting the entirety of the offense. Partially why I go with get disappointed by Uncle Lenny every single week. But Henry is just getting the lion's share of the offense now. He's getting rushes by the boatload, and they actually have a competent quarterback in there that can get a little bit.
Numbers are just off the chart, like just crazy good.
Yeah, you stole money from Kyle and Crane. I was jealous.
Oh, that was like stealing.
I was upset you didn't call me to go on this show, and then I could have stole some money from Crane because I would have been taking Henry with you. That was bad. It was free money.
I'll tell you. I mean, I'm just going to keep pounding Henry. I'm glad his price goes up, so people are scared to play him because he just goes off. The same thing happened last year. He's playing Houston this week at home. He's going to go off again. Like,
well, it's classic. Like the price is going up, and like I'm like, I mean, Big D, I'm a cash guy, right? Like I'm not going to touch him at that price. It's like too
why
pricey.
Though? Explain it to me right now, like on the pod. Just explain it to me why you don't like. So you love Uncle Lenny, who scores 12 points every week.
I don't love him.
But you hate Henry, who gets 30 points every week. Explain that to me.
No, I get. Well, there's a difference in price. There's a 900, and he doesn't catch passes, right? That's one of the problems that we.
He doesn't catch passes, but he's averaging what 20 points on the season. He's
averaging like 28 the last 5 weeks. Well, you guys act like the last 5 weeks doesn't matter. It matters more than the whole year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean he's getting like
matters.
What we want. I mean, like we're not used to guys that are averaging over a touchdown per game, but Henry, every single game, you expect him to get a touchdown with a decent shot at 2. You expect 100 yards every single game. I mean, he's going to end up with 1,600 yards in all likelihood this season. So you're getting the 100-yard bonus most every single week. So that's 12 points right there. And you're getting 1 to 2 touchdowns. So your floor is roughly 16 points.
But he doesn't get nine targets from Mangone, so he's not allowed to play him.
No, I mean, I listen. If I get it's not necessarily that. Like I said, I'm probably not going to play. Like I'm probably not going to play Fournette or Henry in my cash lineup, right? I'd probably go to a Barkley or a Carson instead because it's just cheaper, and I think that there's good opportunity, obviously, because I like getting the PPR upside too, right? It's like you're getting a running back and a receiver there as well. But it depends. Like if I end up having like cheap receiver value, I'll definitely go to Henry. I mean, I played him the week that he exploded against Jacksonville, I think it was. Like
which week did he explode? He explodes every week.
No, I'm saying like the week that – well, it was the week he exploded against Jacksonville. That was a week that he was really chalky in cash games. And one of the reasons why is we didn't love a lot at running back, right? Like we typically –
and he was cheap. Like you love him when he's cheap.
Yeah, he was cheap, right? Like now he's 8,500. Like
he's 8,500 because he gets 8,500 points a week.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you're telling me, hey, pick between McCaffrey, Cook, Henry, Chubb, and Elliott, like I want Henry first. Like if I'm doing a draft, I'll take Henry probably before all those guys, actually. Maybe not Cook, but actually Cook's hurt, man. Like I don't know. He's probably still –
I would take for sure the rest of the season if I had to rank running back the rest of the year, not counting anything but points. I would bet anyone right now I'll take Henry. I mean, they have to win too.
Yeah, I mean, Henry's probably, like, if of those 5 I mentioned, he's probably the number 1 play. But like I said, I'm probably just not spending my money on there right now. But if I get money to spend because
I thought running back's where we like to lock in the safety.
We do. But
I just don't understand why the cash people don't like it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, he's not going to get 2 touchdowns every game, right? That there is the.
You're going to go with the Cardi take, like it can't happen. He's not going to get 2 every week.
No, I'm just saying. Well, he can't. He's not going to do it every single week. But like I said, I like
get 1 or 2 every week, though. What about the week he gets 4? Like he still got the 4 in the outcomes too.
Hey, you're not wrong. He does have the 4, but like I said,
he's just so good. Like you can't.
He's good.
Defense sucks, man. Houston's D.
Oh. I don't think we're going to spend on running and like the quote unquote optimal build. I don't know if you're going to spend on running back. And the reason why, like as we get the receiver, we have some really good spend up receivers this week in really good spots. I mean, Calvin Ridley is ruled out. I get San Francisco's tough, but Julio Jones could be an interesting play. Like Godwin is obviously someone that you want to consider spending on here.
Julio Jones, by the way, is complete. You like all the dusty dudes. Like Julio Jones is complete dust.
I mean, I haven't played him much this year, so it's been it's been paying off. But with Ridley out, you're gonna have to. I mean, you're probably gonna go one of the cheaper receivers. And again, with that cheap receiver option, I'm guessing is it the Blake guy? We can talk about it once you get to receiver. But
let's just go there now. And let's start off at the top. I mean, you said Julio without Ridley, fantastic play, and I get that Michael Thomas just put up massive numbers versus San Francisco, but San Francisco is quite possibly the top pass defense in the league. Like, I get Julio's Julio, but you're getting a bit of a discount, but not a massive discount here. Like,
well, what's his ownership, right? Like, if everyone's thinking that, if I told you Julio was less than 5%, like how
Julio is not going to be less than 5% with Ridley out.
Julio's never been less than 5%.
Yes, he has. He has been. I can find you a week if you told me there's money.
Facetious there. Like, it's happened before, but it rarely
be this
happens.
week though.
No, yeah, I get that. But like I said, like Godwin, like is Evans going to be out? Like he's doubtful, right? Godwin
Evans
at
is definitely going to be out.
Yeah, so Godwin's like probably the top receiver of the week, right? If you had to pick one guy, he's probably the guy. And like I think people are really going to jam him in their lineups against Detroit here. It's also in the dome, so like people are going to want to spend up at receiver for Godwin. He's probably the number one like overall guy that pops in the models.
Yeah, he was the main guy that immediately stood off the page. I mean, Hopkins doesn't have an easy matchup here, but maybe a Fuller out, I think that makes him a decent tournament option. Adams doesn't have a good matchup, but he's going to get the volume. Hill doesn't have a good matchup, but he's Tyreek Hill. Diggs doesn't have an easy matchup going up against Hayward, but he's still Diggs, like up here at the top. And then Edelman going up against Cincinnati. Don't know if he'll get the volume because they might be ahead. And Galladay has Blow throwing to him, but it is in Tampa Bay. Like Galladay is an interesting one at 7,200. Like
the reason why it's interesting, Grant, is because Detroit doesn't run the ball. Like they can't. Like what are they gonna do? Run Bo Scarborough out there? Like they're just passing the ball a ton, and the Buccaneers are a perfect spot. So I love the Galladay call. I think Galladay's an amazing play. They're just gonna pass a ton. So yeah, have to like that.
Yeah, who are you looking at the top, T?
Yeah, I love the Galladay call. We talked about it at quarterback, but I love the double stack, him and Marvin and Galladay. How much is Marvin?
Run it back with Godwin, man. There you go.
Yeah, I like that a ton for sure. And I like Hopkins at the top too, going back with Henry. Just I wonder if I can fit all those dudes on the same team, actually.
I was thinking about it, right? And like thinking back to Henry, we might be able to get Henry this week. And the reason why we might be able to get Henry is like we got Washington this week, right? And they're playing the Eagles, and the Eagles don't have receivers, right? Like these Eagles receivers are going to become chalky, right? If we don't have, I don't know if Aguilar is going to play, but let's say Aguilar plays, right? And he's the number one guy. I know he can't catch, but he's 4K. Greg Ward is 3K. Arcega Whiteside is 3.3K. So I don't think you can completely sleep on playing some Eagles receivers as some cheap options. And again, they're playing Washington, right? Like they're not playing, some team that's a problem. And I know you say, oh, they played the Giants, but the weather was kind of gross. So, yeah, I think these Eagles receivers could help us unlock that. What do you think, Tony?
I'm going to put this team in right now just for the record, like just so I can put a team in early in the week. But Blow, Galladay, Marvin, Godwin run back, and then Henry and Hopkins. What's going in?
What about your boy Boston Scott?
He's got to be in there because I don't have
salary. You got to have some cheap guys, man. You can't just play everyone.
Well, I'm just making sure.
With Scott, I got a punt D and a punt tight end, and I'm home free.
I'm looking for full transparency from you, Tony.
It's about that. I'm going to tell you the whole team by the end. I need a cheap tight end when we get to tight end, but
we'll get you one. We talk about some
Philly receivers. Back to the Philly receivers. You asked me like who are the Philly receivers? They don't have any.
Whiteside and Greg Ward right now. Well, if Aguilar plays, he's a guy too. But yeah, it's like we saw Ward when everyone was out against Seattle. He had 7 targets.
He went off tonight, I think. I can't remember the stat line. Let me pull it up real quick.
Ward was good tonight, and he's 3K. So yeah, I agree with that. Like whoever plays for Philly at receiver is definitely in play, 100%.
Yeah. So Greg Ward had 9. So he didn't really go off, but he had 9 targets for 34 yards.
And he had a touchdown that literally got called back for no reason. It was a complete phantom hold.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter. I didn't watch the game closely, but someone on Twitter was like, "Greg Ward could have 26 fantasy points right now."
He had 2 touchdowns. One got called back, and one he got stopped on the inch line. So yeah.
So there you go.
He's 3K, so absolutely. They have literally no receivers.
So that brings me to another point. I know that you love playing Miami wide receivers. I do too. But if Parker's out, it's Allen Hurns and Ford, and Albert Wilson might be out too. So it's Isaiah Ford and Hurns going up against this New York pass defense. Ward.
We've officially entered the fun part of the season, haven't we? Where
we are playing some dusty receivers. We're going to jam in.
You're not going to play Henry.
I'm playing Henry now.
Yeah, why in cash would you not play Henry when you could just throw in Ward?
We're going to have McCaffrey and Henry by the end of the show.
We can get McCaffrey, Henry, and Cook. I'm going to see if I can build a McCaffrey, Henry, Cook lineup.
Well, listen,
there's 3K people everywhere.
This is why they say, this isn't the first podcast you should listen, or this is the first podcast you should listen to.
No, that's why Dean says it. That's ridiculous why Dean says it. I'm just spitting straight fire. We got Bengals going against Noodle Arm Brady for 1,800. We got all the cash in the world.
Stop getting me excited here. I mean, that just got me. Whew, I'm like 3/4 thinking about Noodle Arm coming to Cincy.
I'm excited to listen to the Wood Show on Sunday to hear you guys mention these like dusty receivers and everyone get excited.
What about in the mid-tier here, guys? So, like, we got Allen Hurns, as I said, with Devontae Parker potentially out. Mike Williams finally got a touchdown going up against Minnesota. Like, he could be in for a decent workload here. Shepard or Tate could potentially be a decent play going up against Miami with Noodle Arm Manning going up. Cortland Sutton in a spot where he's going to get volume because, like, Drew Lock, how many times do you think he threw last week?
30.
I don't actually know. That's why I asked. 27.
I have no idea either. It was a complete guess. I could be way off.
27 last week.
Oh, that was a good guess by me.
28 the week before. Sutton in the last 2 weeks or last few weeks, 7, 5, 8, 9 targets. Like, if they're going to be throwing the ball a lot because they're an 11-point dog here, Locke didn't look too bad. Sutton's 5,900. He has double touchdown upside. He has 10 catch upside. He has 100-yard upside. He's sitting there at 5,900.
Oh, that's too cheap, man. I didn't realize he was that cheap. That's pretty good.
Yeah, like he's clearly the number one option, and his QB actually looks good. He could have a 30% target share in this matchup with a lot of volume. Like
he's also not a dusty receiver. He's like actually good. Like he's hashtag good.
He's really good.
And then one guy that I have just a boatload of interest in is Michael Gallup. He's 5,400. Let me see, 5,700. Like Ramsey could just be put in there to shut down Cooper. We've seen massive games out of Gallup this year. Like it's going to be the Rams play at an incredibly high pace, so Dallas is going to have a whole bunch of opportunities. I know that they're not the greatest team in the world versus the run, but they're pretty darn good versus the run. And so I could potentially see Cooper getting shut down by Ramsey, which we've seen Cooper get shut down more times than I can count. He just happens to have some random awesome games. Like Gallup at 5,700, this mid-tier is stacked. And Marvin Jones, I mentioned it before, 5,200. That's way too low of a price tag for a guy that's had a 35, 40-point game this season.
And then there's some good spots on this slate, man. Another guy that's kind of cheap that we saw him again, another Monday Night Football guy that blew up was Slayton, man. Like Slayton looked good. And it's Miami, right? Like anyone against Miami, you got to consider. So like Golden Tate, what's his price? He's 5,900. I'd rather just go Slayton probably for 4,800. So yeah, this mid tier's got some juicy guys too that we definitely could like.
Yeah. Anyone else that we missed here? Anyone?
Yeah, my favorite guy in here is McLaurin. I play McLaurin every week.
He's so talented, T, but his quarterback is so bad. I mean, so bad.
They're playing Philly though, and Philly just keeps getting dusted by these talented guys. Last week Parker, this week Slayton. These talented guys that can get deep. I think the matchup's pretty good, and he's only 5,300. I mean, last week he goes 7 for 57, an incredible touchdown again. He's always 1% owned. I mean, it's a good upside play.
No, you're right about the upside. I hate Haas.
His quarterback is so bad. You're right. Like, he's so bad.
Is he better than Eli Manning?
Yeah, I think he might be better than Eli, actually.
I do have one other guy. I mentioned him earlier. The Atlanta situation, right? Gage is expensive, but who's the is it where that Blake guy? He got some action, I think. I'm trying to find Atlanta on here.
So it's. I just pulled him up right now.
He had 0 targets last week. It was the week before he had 9. That's why I was kind of curious. But, yeah, I don't know.
Who was working the targets? I'm going to look up this game.
Yeah, I'm so confused. I know that Zacharias guy had the longest touchdown this year in NFL. He had his first career catch in the NFL, and it was a 93-yard touchdown. But he only had 2 targets, so I don't think there was much with him. So, yeah, just figured I'd mention the cheap
Atlanta is probably going to get shut out this week for the record. Like, there's a good chance they get shut out.
Good bounce back week for San Francisco coming home. After
bounce back, they won last.
Yeah, I was gonna say they won. Yeah, I forgot they won, man. I'm blanking on that.
It was a good win too.
That was the best, quite possibly the best game I've seen all season.
Yeah, I forgot they won because I'm busy watching Red Zone, man. There's so much going on. But yeah, that game the Kittle run was amazing.
That was the play of the year.
That play was sick.
He had 3 dudes on him, and one of them was ripping his face mask off, and he still drug him for like 10 yards.
Yeah, and he's doing this off the ankle, right? Like that ankle's still probably like bugging him. He don't care. He's the man.
Guy's a man.
Well, let's move on to tight end then. Like up at the top, we got Kelsey going up against Denver. Like just funnels targets to tight ends. We got Kittle going up against Atlanta. Great tight end spot. We got Ertz, the only guy in that offense, going up against Washington. Not great versus the tight end. Like, this is looking like a good spend-up spot. I'll get to the mid-tier later, but Big T, what do you think about the spend-up guys?
Yeah, I like all of them. I mean, you just talked about it. Kelsey against Denver. Kittle against Atlanta. Perfect matchup. Ertz, the only receiver right now, literally the only receiver. Like, they just don't have anybody. And, yeah, I mean, it makes sense up top. Even Waller against a Jacksonville team that's completely quit. The top four guys are just incredible plays this week. And, I mean, you look down a little lower, Goddard. You just talked about Philly, 4,300. You got to like Goddard too. So you got five guys. This is a good week for tight end for sure. All those guys. We talked about some bad matchups at receiver in different spots. These are all good matchups, every single one of them. So I like all these guys.
Yeah, what about Hunter Henry at 5,200? Like, Minnesota gives up tons of targets to opposing tight ends. Henry has double touchdown upside. He's heavily involved in that offense. Rivers loves him. He only got 4 targets last week, but that's because Virgil Green got a touchdown, and they were so far ahead. Mangone, up at the top, which guy's your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Like, these top guys, man, all in great spots. I like them all. Waller against the Jags, too. The Jags pass, he hasn't been good, so Waller could definitely ball out here. Like him, Goddard was another guy you mentioned that, again, we obviously want to target, we want to target these Philadelphia tight ends here in this spot because they don't got any receivers. They're interesting. Gesicki pops off at 4K. The Giants, I don't hate him. We talked about Parker not being there too, so he's obviously going to have to get some more work, you would assume. Another guy, like, he's been awesome. Like, and it's Tyler Higbee, man. He's 3,900 against the Cowboys.
He's been, like, incredible.
Yeah, and Big T, you talked about, like, here at the end of the season, like, we don't care what Tyler Higbee did in week 3 and week 4.
Really,
like, we care what he did the past couple weeks, and like they're riding him down the stretch, and Everett's out. And if you look at that game too, they're playing different. They're not playing like that 3 wide receiver set like they've been playing. They're going to that more, trying to run the ball more, and just with the tight end, getting them involved. And Higbee I think he's an amazing play. The Dallas Cowboys are terrible against tight end, so I don't know if he's the cheap tight end you can go with, Tony, at 3,900. I don't know if you got the money.
Cheaper.
I got cheaper. I don't know if he's going to be chalk again, but Ian Thomas, we're going up against Seattle, who we know we don't like. Listen, we're not big Kyle Allen fans, but we're not Seattle defense fans. And, I mean, Ian Thomas had 10 targets last week. Is 3,100, is he a guy that you can jam in there, or do you need even cheaper?
Yeah, no, I got 3,300 I need here. So he fits in there, and I agree. He looked good. Like, I couldn't figure out why everyone wasn't just jamming him last week. He was min price on FanDuel, even, where we never get that min price FanDuel tight end, 4K. People were so worried about the coach. I'm sure you were too, man, going like there's 3 tight ends and all the coach talk. Were you worried about him?
Early in the week, but then I read up on it and I was like, well, it's a blocker and a fullback. Like, I don't think I'm.
Did you play on both sides?
No, I didn't play on both sides. And the reason why is I just had salary. Like, I had salary to get up to Waller. I forget what my 2v2 was. I was considering Rudolph too, but listen, I had a really good team, so I'm very happy with the decisions I made. It just, dude, I was really allowed to take down to 250, and Waller and Uncle Lenny let me down the stretch. So.
Can't believe Uncle Lenny let you down. I mean, I'm shocked. Did he get good volume though?
It was too sad, man. I stopped watching. I was like, I can't. The Jaguars were down so much. It was so bad. One other tight end we should mention with Evans being out, and he's kind of emerging now, is O.J. Howard, right?
It was Brate. It's Brate. Brate's the guy.
They're both the guy, right? Like, there's no Evans.
No. Howard has been the guy for 1 week. He's gotten volume. Brate has been the guy that's gotten volume 2 of the last 4 weeks. Up against Indy, he ended up with 13 points. Up against New Orleans, he ended up with 14 targets.
Well, Howard had 5 targets, 73 yards, and 11.3 fantasy points. So I don't think Howard was bad last week. I think he was pretty good too. I mean,
honestly, with Evans out, you're kind of right. I could see Howard being put out wide. I mean, they did it with him a few times last year and the year before. Like, they have no problem doing a 2 tight end set and then just going with Howard on the outside afterwards. Like, it's a decent spot. You're not wrong. 2 guys that we haven't mentioned yet that I really, really like, 2 of my favorite tight end plays on the slate that you don't think about and you haven't thought about a whole lot is, first, Njoku versus Arizona. Like, he's back now. He's playing. He's a guy that we were very high on the beginning of the season. He has upside. He's just been injured, and now gets a matchup versus Arizona, which we all know Arizona. And then Noah Fant has had 100 yards twice in the last 6 weeks. He's really liked by Locke, it looks like. He has touchdown upside. He dropped a touchdown in the end zone versus the Chargers, so he would have had 3 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks. He's sitting there at 4,500 or 4,100, going up against KC that gives up boatloads of points to opposing tight ends, gives a ton of volume, and they're going to be throwing the ball a bunch and coming from behind, which they don't have any other weapons outside of Sutton and Fant. So if Locke throws the ball 40 times, Fant's probably going to end up with 7 targets. Like, this is a beautiful spot for him. I really like both these guys, and like, it's early on the week. I'm guessing Njoku gets a little bit of talk and a little bit of ownership, but both those guys are great. Am I wrong here?
The Fant things, I don't mind the Fant thing. What do you think, Tony?
Fant's another guy, kind of like Mostert, where you just the eyeball test. This dude's good. Like, you watch him, he's a beast out there. He had a few games early in the season where he dropped a couple deep balls that he should have had. He had problems with catches, but this dude's a stud, and he's connected nice with Locke. So I love that call. Actually.
You want a quote on Fant I read? I was digging in the showdown like early in the season when the Broncos had a game, and the head coach Fangio talked about Fant, and he said Fant is a cornerstone piece to this franchise. Like when a coach is calling you that, like he wants to obviously get you the ball. So yeah, I think Noah Fant is one of these guys that's like here to stay for the Broncos for like the next 4 years or so in DFS, and we're going to be looking at him. So yeah, I don't mind riding this price while you can, because Drew Lock is definitely looking at him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's anything else we missed at tight end, or?
I don't know. I'm looking at like the really dusty plays, like the 2-5s, but like I don't think we need to be doing
Nick O'Leary is getting some run. He's a red zone target. He's 3,100. Like,
is that the guy that they would make fun of for the dinosaur arms?
Yeah, actually, that is him. I know exactly what you're talking. That's funny. That's a callback to other podcasts. Yeah, that's him. I haven't heard that reference in so long.
That's because we haven't seen Nick O'Leary in a minute. He plays for Jacksonville? Oh, yeah, no.
I knew you didn't know he played for Jacksonville.
I thought he played for Buffalo or something.
No, he actually had a touchdown last week against the Chargers.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. But yeah, I don't see anything else. Maybe Fells potentially if you need something cheap.
Your boy Big Irv Smith, Big T.
Always like Big Irv.
2.9K.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just noticed this. That Foster Moreau guy, he's out for the season for the Raiders. So Waller might actually eat even more because they've been like ever since they kind of got him more involved. Waller's kind of he's lost some volume, which has been frustrating. So I don't know if they're just gonna like put in like another tight end, but that could be a nice little boost to Waller.
Well, yeah,
I like Waller a ton. He might be my favorite.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And if Renfro's out, he's questionable this week, I saw. So if he's out again, like Waller could just dominate in this one.
Yeah, I think that brings us about to the end of our analysis. Now it's time. So you don't have a tweet for me, Mangone? You just have the semblance of a tweet?
Yeah, so Dean was at a wedding. I was pretty busy today, and I thought I lost until you guys told me, so I was just prepared.
I thought about that. I'm like, Mangone thinks he lost. I should really just tell him, but
I'm very happy you let me know. But yeah, so we kind of have an idea, and I'm hoping that I can talk with them. I'm a little busy tomorrow, so I'm hoping me and Dean can talk about it. But I know he's going to probably craft it. But he said we're going to do this. Grant is going to announce an upcoming announcement. So it's basically an announcement of an upcoming announcement, and then it's never going to happen. Like an example he kind of gave was like running for local mayor or something. So and then you're never going to announce that, Grant. So maybe we'll make a date too. Like you have to. I'll be announcing this on Friday. Come back to my Twitter to find out, and then you just never announce anything.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Big T probably doesn't even listen to this podcast, so just sees Dean tweeting about Pornhub Premium.
I just thought that was a normal thing.
Yeah, but you in for the tweets or consequences this week?
Yeah, I'm going to win.
All right, so if you guys haven't listened before, and Big T, what we do is we do a little snake draft format. And so I lost last week. I go first, and then Mangone goes second. And then we each pick a guy, best or worst point per dollar team loses.
How many people do we have to pick?
It's
we
only
picked
two. And we set
Two guys at any position?
No,
Well-
we set the position. So Grant's going to pick first, and then I pick. And once that's set, like say Grant picks a quarterback and a receiver, you have to pick a quarterback. Like Grant's going to pick a quarterback first.
Yeah, so we'll
I'm
just-
the guest. How come I have to pick third when I'm the guest?
Well, you can go second if you want. So you can.
You can go second. I'll go last. That's fine.
So first pick, I'm going with Derrick Henry, just because suck it, Mangone. He's my first
I
pick.
like Henry. You guys act like he's my favorite guy of the top end guys. He's my favorite of the top end. So I like Henry this week.
Yeah, no, Big T, you're up. You pick a guy.
So I can pick anybody I want?
No, so you don't pick a running back. Well,
Well, we'll just do it this week. You set the position if he goes with a running back. So pick any
Okay.
guy, Big T.
So you pick a running back, or you can set the position. You pick.
How
a
do you guys
quarterback,
not
receiver,
just,
tight end.
if there's three of you, how do you not just pick one of each position?
I mean,
I don't know. Good
Like
question.
that?
it's got.
Then you don't have to set a position. Then you can each pick one of each position.
It makes it interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's tough with a snake draft format because then someone
And
the guy
Dean
who goes.
takes too long. That's the other problem. Dean
Yeah,
takes forever to
team
make
goes
his pick.
forever.
I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to pick. I wanted Henry. That's why I wanted to go first.
Well, you're the guest, so you can take your time if you need to.
So I can pick. I have to pick anything.
You can pick anything. If you want a running back, take a running back. If you
I
want
have
to set the
pick a
position,
running back.
Well, eventually you have to take
a
one.
running back.
Yeah, there's two between that you're split between. You can go with another position because everyone has to draft a running back on this, and everyone has to draft whatever the next position is that's drafted.
I mean, I got to take McCaffrey.
Yeah, he was the other guy I was thinking about. All right, man, you set the position and then pick a running back.
Oh, okay. I get to set the position.
Yeah, you weren't really expecting that, were you?
I was not. I was hoping to just kind of be like, okay, well, let's get this gets decided for me, which would have been nice.
You guys should be picking one of each position. That's bad management.
I mean, do you want to do that? Do you want to make an exception, Grant?
Yeah, we'll do a
It's
three
just a
round.
nice little even team. Like you got one quarterback, receiver, a running back.
All right, we're doing that this week.
All right.
So man, go and pick two of.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump on. Let's see. So you guys already took Henry, so I can take my running back last, which is a beautiful thing.
I mean, that's advanced strategy.
Yeah.
I'm out here doing this on the fly. So yeah, give me. We all like Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff's a really good play. So yeah,
Oh
give me
my
Jared.
guy.
Yeah, give me Jared Goff. I think that's a good one there from a point per dollar perspective. And then I get to go again because it's snake style, so I'm going to take a receiver. I don't know who to take here. I know what running back I want, but I don't want to leave you. I'm just going to go at the top. I'm going to go for Godwin. I think he's like one of the best plays of the week, so I'll take Godwin point per dollar.
All right, Tony.
Take a receiver or a quarterback. No reason to take a quarterback. They're all going to be the same. I guess I'll take. I'll take Hopkins.
That's a good one. I was thinking about potentially going with him. Yeah, this one's tough. I'm going to go with Sutton at wide receiver, and then I'm bringing it back with Mahomes. I know that he has an injury right now.
Well, if he's hurt, we'll give you someone else, right?
Yeah.
You can take someone else.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm going with Mahomes. So pick a QB, Tony.
Who's my favorite quarterback? Man, do I take Watson with Hopkins or do I take Russell Wilson? God, I freaking hate Watson so much.
Yeah, I know.
I might just want to pound you two and just go with my correlation. Too bad I don't have Henry. Henry would look nice with those two. You should trade me McCaffrey for Henry. I'll take. I guess just give me Watson since I got Hopkins. I freaking hate him though.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, I guess, I couldn't do my correlation, which was frustrating because I wanted Godwin, but I didn't know what was happening with Jameis.
What do you mean? Get in there and take Jameis. Why can't you do that?
No, I wasn't messing with that. So,
Did you already take a quarterback?
No, I already took mine. Yeah, I'm deciding between Barkley and Carson, which I think is a really tough one. This is definitely not an easy one. Miami's really
Take
terrible.
Uncle Lenny. You I'm
not taking.
volume.
You're not baiting me into that one.
You gotta get the volume.
There's no way
He's gonna get
is
10
happening,
targets.
Tony. No way that's happening. Let's go. I'm going to go with man, this is awful. I'm going to go with Carson. I think Carson's a really good play. I think Carolina's terrible against the run. So, yeah, give me Carson here in this spot.
All right. Well, we got it set, and that pretty much – I don't know. Normally we just say dumb things for the next 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't know. Without Dean here to facilitate the stupid stuff, what do we talk about?
I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, what are we missing? We had the comments. Did we not hit anything yet?
I think we hit pretty much everything. We were more succinct without Dean here. I run a tight ship, boys.
That's fair enough. Tony,
Did I read my team that I'm going to put in, our team from the show?
Yeah, read the show team, and if you got a good story for us, man, hit us with a good story or something.
So we got Blow at quarterback. We got Henry. We got Scott. We got Galladay and Marvin Jones. We got Godwin. We got Hopkins. We got Ian Thomas, and we got the Bengals D.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we didn't even talk about defense. Bengals are so interesting at 1,800. Yeah, noodle arms, sacks with that, like.
You know what I was thinking about defense? Like, I'm super excited about that playoff slate, and I'm super excited to play the defense, whatever defense it's going to be. Like, fire up those showdown ones, play the defense, play that on the 2-4 gamers, whatever. Because Brady's just going to fall and take sacks and get intercepted.
There's nothing funnier than when he just literally just falls and just goes down. Like, no one's even around. He just goes down because he feels pressure.
You know what could actually be the top defense on this slate? The Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are always in that nice and cheap too, right there at 23.
I mean, Jameis, he's gonna throw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. That's Jameis for you.
Yeah, you might actually have a pick 6 in there. I mean, Lions may be the best point per dollar defense on the slate.
Yeah, actually, 2-3. I mean, hey, then you get to you get to jam in all the players. So yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Got a story for us, Tony?
I do not. I wasn't prepared. You got to get me talking about something, and then I'll tell a story. I can't think of it. Besides when Grant was going to get stabbed by a crazy lady in San Diego.
Gosh, that was the weirdest scenario ever. Oh, man.
Tell the story. You tell the story. I mean, she was going to stab you.
Yeah, no. She
told me she was going to stab you and end your life.
Yeah, we were at a bar, and apparently I did something, and she was going around telling people that she was going to stab me.
And she was serious.
Oh, 100%. Like, she wanted to end my life. And
she had a knife on her. She showed it to me.
She showed you the knife?
Oh, she had a knife, yeah.
Oh, gosh. I almost died, guys. Oh, man.
What'd you do to her, man?
I tried to get the noodle wet.
Oh.
He was joking about it. Like, he didn't give a full effort, but he gave a little joke and, like, sat on her lap for a minute. She did not like it.
Yeah.
Tony,
yeah.
Tony, I got a question for you. Remember when we were in Nashville, we went to dinner, dude? Dude, that waitress was all in on Dean, right?
I don't remember the waitress.
Oh, you don't remember the waitress? She was
she loving Dino? And he didn't because he was a regular. That's what happened, right? Like, she knew all his order and
I don't know. She was loving Dean, though, man. Dean and Simon have been there a bunch. That steakhouse, man. That was a good time. The steakhouse was good.
Montana Grill.
Yeah,
I like that place.
Yeah, our G party's coming up, man. We're going to have to hit the Montana Grill again.
You need to announce it. It's happening, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I'm sure it's a Super Bowl party, right? I'm sure that's what's going down. Well, we should all be there and having a good time.
Too. Like all the finals I've gone to, different things like that RG party. Definitely my favorite. Just a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be playing some hoops action. I'm sure we'll go on. I'm wondering if we'll get the one-on-one for you and Hoop.
Hoop isn't coming. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know, probably not.
There's no way that man's coming.
We need to get the Randone. You and Hoop against Randone. And did you see the picture I posted of him missing that shot?
Clay, did you see the game? Oh my God, it's exactly what I thought his basketball game was going to look like.
Well,
the big, strong football dude that has no coordination whatsoever.
Well, I took did you see? I watched the video and I took a screenshot of Clay, and it was him literally missing a bunny. Like, I can't shoot, but he was missing he's playing for $5,000 against you, and he's out here, missing jump.
He's so strong too, and like so fast, and he just has no coordination though.
Yeah, it's gonna be good times.
He's gonna be so embarrassed when he loses to a big fat guy. Like those guys are gonna be so embarrassed.
They might have to take a hiatus out in the woods and meditate.
Go back to the meditation chamber.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, well, I think that's about the end of the show. Each of you guys give me a bold take. We'll start off with you, Mangone.
Oh, a bold take on the week. Man, I'm not prepared for this, man. Let's go with Galladay, man. Galladay, he does the helicopter, 2 touchdowns and 100 yards on this slate. The helicopter play, like Ian Hartnett says. Galladay has a big one.
All right, Big T.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite team from the whole time we looked at it was Detroit. Maybe we get 400-plus yards from Blow, 2 touchdowns each from Galladay and Jones, 4 touchdowns. Just they completely break the slate.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going with Cortland Sutton is the top-scoring wide receiver on the entire slate.
I like it.
Yeah, I can see that happen. All right, guys, it's been fun. Big T, thanks for taking over for Dean. It was definitely better. Suck it, Dean. Mangone, I'll see you again next week. And, guys, good luck on all your contests this week. We're out of here. See you, kids.